Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, got an interview here for you that I thought I would share, and it's with Ian Solomon from Genfinity, and he's interviewing Leemon, baird, Eric Pacini, and Mance Harmon, and this is a good one. So I've got my bullet points here, and I'm just going to go through the main things that I want to address, and just obviously add my little 2 cents in as I go along. So let's get into it then. So the first thing they're talking about here is, how Hedera are getting on. And one of the things that they mention is that they're noticing that more people and like institutions already recognize them now and like know that they're from Hedera. And he's saying that really wasn't the case before. I think that's a really great start, because what does that tell you? Obviously, they're starting to get more recognition. People are seeing what they're doing. There's an interest there. They're obviously growing as a company. There's intrigue. So I thought straight away when I heard that, I was like, okay, great. Because if you're talking about like institutions, and when they talk about people, they're obviously talking about like executives, like the more elite type of people, because they're going to be the kind of people who they're mixing with, like going to, events and stuff like that. If they're like recognizing who they are, one, it means crypto as a whole is getting more recognition, but two, specifically Hedera. And that tells me that there's a lot of interest there. So the fact that they're starting to get more recognized, it tells me straight away that they're doing something right. Do you know what I mean? Because clearly people are seeing what they're doing, and they know who they are. So that's a great improvement, right? Like having to go at the beginning to having to introduce yourself, letting them know who you work for, what the company is, what the network is, and even trying to explain what crypto technology is to, oh no, we know you guys, you're from Hedera, right? You're from the Hedera network, etc. Oh yeah, so that straight away, it can make things a lot easier. And in terms of like making partnerships and things like that, like there might be people who are already there who want to work with Hedera. Do you know what I mean? The interest might already be there, so they're just waiting for the opportunity to speak with these kinds of people like Mance and Leemon. So, that was already a good thing to see. The next thing that they talk about is the DREC Alliance, and how they're saying that, everyone is realizing that we need to work together to help the industry move forward. Like there's no safety net in crypto at the moment. If you lose your wallet, phone, or your keys, etc. So, in terms of the first part, working together to move forward, guys, I keep saying this. I will keep continuing to say this because I agree. I think, the strength in numbers, unity is what's going to help us, especially with like the SEC going on the huge tirade that they have been going on. Like we need unity. We need everyone to stick up for each other, because, this whole segregation thing, it's, what's that saying that they talk about? Divide and conquer, right? Divide and conquer. Like if everyone's just like, oh, it's not my crypto, so I don't care, and you laugh at the other cryptos when they get sued, it could be your turn, right? And although Hedera have followed as much, like, they've done as much as they can to be compliant so they wouldn't have any issues with the SEC. The SEC are just suing people left, right, and center. And to me, like, they've got to a point where, to me, it doesn't even seem like they care if they lose anymore. Like, it's just like they're just suing people and just trying their luck. So, I mean, there has been a bit of a switch lately because of the whole political landscape. And so I think they're realizing they're losing voters from it. So maybe this will calm down now, but I don't really put anything past them. So, strength in numbers, I just agree. Like, it's what's going to help the industry move forward, working together. Even in terms of networks joining together, I think that's just a positive thing. I think that's something that would be great for the industry as a whole and for the consumers. I think having that, interoperability between networks is something that would just be a huge positive and a benefit. So then talking about what the DREC Alliance is, like the safety net in terms of crypto. I think this is something that's massive, to be honest with you. Like if we're talking about, wanting mass adoption, I think this is something that's needed, because when I first got into crypto, when I very first heard about it, and I've told this story before, but if you don't know, this is my lost opportunity that I call it. I was first hearing about, Bitcoin in like, I want to say like 2009, 2010, something like that. And I saw it on a forum, and someone was explaining it, and I'll be honest with you, I did not understand what they were talking about. Obviously, this was when it was like pretty much brand new. And it was explaining like how a cold storage wallet worked. And I just didn't get it. Like they're saying you put it on a device, but then you have to have this paper that you write these things. And I was just like, you have to put it down on paper, but then it's on a device. I'm like, what's going on? And I just didn't like the idea of having something where security wise it's on paper, because I'm just like, well, how easy is it for that paper to get lost or destroyed in some way? Do you know what I mean? And I just didn't like the idea of it, so I didn't bother getting involved. Now, obviously, had I got involved, I would have been involved in Bitcoin and I'd have been sitting very pretty right now. But, you know, it is what it is. But the point that I'm making is the whole reason why I didn't get involved is because of the fear factor of the security aspect. So, if you think about it from the general aspect of people out there now, they're probably thinking the same thing, right? There might be people who want to get involved in crypto, but if they know, like, hey, you know, if you lose this piece of paper or somebody gets their hands on it, then that's your money gone, right? Well, would you feel comfortable investing, you know, serious money into it from that aspect? You might be afraid, right? You might not want to take that gamble. So adding this, you know, decentralized recovery into it, I think it's a must, to be honest with you. I think it's a must. Like, people are going to want to know that there's some kind of backup there. You know, that's what's going to make people get more involved if they know, like, yes, okay, if you do lose, you know, your keys or whatever, yes, there is still a chance for you to be able to get your money back. Like, it's not all is gone kind of thing. And yes, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great incentive. And I think it's something that will help with mass adoption, because that will give people that bit of peace of mind in knowing there's an added level of security just in case they should have any kind of situations with their keys. So yeah, I really think DREC, you know, the DREC Alliance is a great thing. I look forward to seeing that continuing to grow, and I think it's something that's very, very necessary, to be honest with you. Okay, the next thing that they're talking about is just trying to make things as simplified as possible for developers. Again, like, I completely agree with this. Your developers are obviously the people who are going to potentially be bringing value to your network, right? They're the ones who are going to be making the use cases for Hedera. So they're the ones who are trying to make Hedera be utilized, essentially, because, you know, like, you could have a developer who comes along and let's just say they come to Hedera and they think it's too complicated. They might, like, say, I've got this really great idea, but I tried developing on Hedera and it just really wasn't good. It wasn't a good experience. So I just went over to, let's just say, for example, Ethereum, because it was just more straightforward. Like, you want it to be as simplified as possible. One, because you want it to be as easy for the developer as possible for them to use the network. And two, that could actually help you, again, gain over your competition, right? Because if other networks are a bit more complex, whereas you've simplified your network as much as possible to make it as easy and straightforward as possible for them to develop on your network, well, they might want to choose you over other networks, right? Because it's just so much easier. And so, you know, I keep saying this, but all it takes is one great use case that could really, you know, explode Hedera as a network even, you know, more. So you want to make this as open for developers as possible, because they're the ones who are bringing you the value to the network, right? People developing, making use cases, this kind of thing. This is what's going to add value to the network. So I completely agree with that. I think that's the right mentality to have. And again, look, when you're just doing crypto in general, you want it to be simple. You don't want it to be complicated. And I'll be honest with you, like, right now, just in general, like, learning to do crypto, it's not straightforward. Like, having to make sure that you know how to make a transfer, and knowing that if, you know, you accidentally delete a character, or, you know, accidentally mistype a character or something like that, that will still send the money. Like, it won't say that this is an invalid address. It will just say send. And then if it's the wrong address, it just sends money into a black hole. So that's your money gone. So there's a lot of things that you have to be careful of, in terms of learning how to, you know, use crypto, and in terms of just knowing, like, what network are you sending it to, you know, ERC, TRC, these kind of things. Like, there's a lot to it. So for the average person, this is the kind of thing that will, again, scare them out of crypto. So yes, from a developer standpoint, you do want it to be as simplified as possible. Okay, so then we've got them just talking about, like, looking to the future. They want to accelerate adoption but make it easier to use. So I can only repeat what I've just said. Obviously, they do want to move things along, which I get. Obviously, they want the technology to expand and continue to be utilized. But, you know, they wanted to make it as easy as possible. I can only repeat what I've just said. Like, of course, making things more easier is what's going to make it better for people to want to use it, and, you know, just make it a better experience. People are not going to be happy if they've got this technology, but they find it, like, confusing to use, or they're scared to use it because they're worried about, you know, if I do this wrong, that's, you know, my money gone, that kind of thing. So, of course, like, this isn't going to be something where, you want to just leave it in a way where it's complex. Like, you want to simplify this down as much as possible. And that's, again, what will be mass adoption. You know, like I've said this before, but mass adoption is when you can use it and people don't even know it's actually being utilized for, you know, like that kind of thing. So like just for example, the internet, right? If you go to a shop and you buy something with your card, you know, let's just say you will go and buy a can of beer or something from a shop, and you use your card to pay for that can of beer. You're using your card, but that card terminal has to be connected to the internet for it to go through. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're not really thinking about the internet aspect of it, right? You're just thinking, okay, here's my card, just swipe that through, cool, it's all gone through, no problem. You're not thinking about like the inner workings of what sends the signals through for that to go from the terminal to the merchant, for them to do all the back end, for it to all make sure that it all gets accurately applied, etc., that the money debits the account and goes to the shop. You know, all that kind of inner workings. You're not thinking about that, right? And that's what we're talking about with mass adoption with crypto. It's about when there'll be times where you could be utilizing crypto and not even be aware that it's happening because it's happening in the background. It's that kind of thing. So obviously easier to use is the way you'd want it to go. You want it to be as simplified as possible. But yes, I understand and wanting to accelerate crypto now because I think it's crypto's time. Like, I think at this point now it's just expanding it out so people can see the use cases, people can see what it can do, getting institutions involved and really getting this, you know, this technology adopted now because we know the potential of what it can do. So it's really about just getting that actually adopted. And so, just finishing up, we've got Leemon baird who says, look, Hedera are going to take over the planet and, you know, that they're serving humanity. So they need to make it as simplified as possible. Strong words there by Leemon baird, but I like it. You know, I really do like it. And I agree because I agree in terms of just crypto technology as a whole. Like, crypto technology will better the whole world, right? Hedera included. And I do think Hedera will play a pivotal part in that. So I absolutely agree. And, you know, again, as you notice, like, the common theme here is trying to make it as simplified as possible. That's the common trend here. Yeah, again, if you want mass adoption, you want it to be easy. You know, you want it to be a point where, like, they won't even necessarily have to know that crypto technology is being utilized. It can be just in the background. They're just doing whatever they're doing and not even realizing that crypto technology is a part of the process of what they're doing. That's what mass adoption is. But even on the other hand, it's okay. Yes, I am going to, you know, use crypto, but it's very simple. You know, like I've shown you before, there's a app, Galaxy, where with Galaxy app, if you've got like someone in your profile who you follow, you can send a transfer to them of money, but it's just like sending a text message, right? It's just like, okay, like it's like imagining WhatsApp, we say send a picture, it'll be just like send crypto, and it'll be like, what crypto do you want to send? It'll open up your wallet, and then it'll be like, okay, I've got some HBAR here, how much do you want to send? This much, and then send. That's it. You don't even need to find their wallet because their wallet will be attached to their profile. And that's what we're talking about with like mass adoption. That's where it's like, it's that simple. They're not having to think, oh, okay, I need to get their wallet address. Oh my God, have I got it right? Is the characters all there? Have I got to check this 16, character, address and make sure it's all correct and that kind of thing. It won't need that kind of stuff. That's what we're talking about again, in terms of making it mass adoption applicable. So yeah, overall I really agree with this. It was a really good interview. Really like where they went with it and what they covered. Obviously if you guys do want to see it, feel free to check it out. Hedera have reposted this on their X profile, so it is on there. It's a pretty good interview. I've covered like the main topics, but definitely worth checking out if you think you might be interested. But what do you guys think? Mance, Eric, and Leemon on the future of Hedera. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll be interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching this. If you did like it, please remember to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. But until next time, take care.